Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to Madam Nur Hazwani and my fellow classmates. Today, our group will present the seminar 2 and the topic given is Measuring Economic and Social Impact of Organizational Activities. For better understanding, please refer to the slides given. Thank you. First and foremost, let me introduce my team members. Our team consists of 4 members, which are Nur Afa Shahira, Nur Hanisa, Aisyah Fariha, and Nur Hanini Kistina. Firstly, I will explain to you what is the economic impact. Economic impact is a financial effect that something has on a situation or person. It refers to the all environmental factors that influence the economy and financial situation of a company. It means how environmental activities conducted by the company will affect the financial or economy of their business. It includes financial measures such as profit-based measures and cost performance, as well as broader measures of economics such as relationship with government. Economic measurement has become a powerful and persuasive tool for those looking to capture an evidence of the financial benefits that can result from the hosting of a major activity. Measuring economic impact not only allowing the public sector bodies to evaluate their economic return on investment, but it also demonstrates how activity drive economic benefit. There are a few examples of cost measures that are related to economic impact. One of the examples is the cost of packaging. Cost of packaging in this term can be from switching the packaging material from the one that can give a bad impact to the environment to the packaging that is more environmental friendly. For example, switching the users of plastic bag to a paper bag which is easier to recycle. Next, let's move to the social impact. Social impact is the effect that companies and organizations have on people and communities through their business activities. It is defined as the portion of the total outcome that happened as a result of the activity of an organization, which includes anything that affects company-stakeholder relationship that involve the internal and external stakeholders, such as investors, employees, customers, and government agency. It is the impact that has been created by the organization due to their business activities. Social impact measurement is the measurement of social change for the targeted population attributed to the activities of an organization during a specific period of time. The change might be positive or negative, and there may be unintended consequences of one's action to consider. There are 4 elements in measuring the social, which are input, output, outcome, and impact. Input is resources invested in order to make something happen and is measured as a cost. The output is the direct result of the business objective and goal. Outcome is the meaningful changes for the population served, such as anticipated changes in knowledge, skills, attitudes, behavior, condition, or status. Lastly, the impact. This is the outcome less an estimate of what would happen. Impact consists of the results that are directly due to the outcomes of a program. Okay, let me give one example, which is the weekend meal program for staff. The input is the cost and funding incurred for the weekend meal program. The output is the meals that provided for the program. The outcome is the reduction of hunger. And lastly, the impact is improve the quality of life. Now, I will explain about the importance of measuring economic impact of organizational activities. Firstly, it helps to protect stakeholders. By measuring economic impact, the accountant can report directly to the stakeholders based on the decision made in order to fulfill the stakeholders' need and protect their interests. Next, to increase effectiveness of management systems. Firms are able to manage economic costs and business strategy better. It helps to discover chance to offset or minimize unneeded costs. Lastly, it is a good strategy in order to help company minimize the cost and also could achieve more accurate cost of products and process, and also discover new opportunities. Measuring social impact is important for a variety of reasons. Firstly, social impact could help organizations to improve activity or program management with more effective planning and more efficient evaluation. This will allow an organization to review if their activities are having impact as what expected or need to redesign the activities. Next, it helps us better understand and target the social work. Detailed information about the impact of time and investment is having upon the social goals will greatly improve the ability to put a precious resources to best use. It helps organizations to plan better, implement more effectively and successfully, bring initiative to scale. Lastly, it attracts investors and retains investors' confidence. Clear and precise measurements retain customers and investors' confidence in the brand, especially those working towards achieving special social changes. If the social investment is to become as important as financial return, the measurement of social impact must be comparably easy to understand and communicate.
Hi, my name is Aisha Fariha binti Abdul Muttalib. Next, I will present about how to measure economic impact. Economic impact is typically measured using 4 metrics. The first one is employment, the second one is household earnings, the third one is economic output, and the fourth one is value added. Let's go with the first one, employment. Employment is probably the easiest one. Typically, employment impact is reported as the head count of jobs. The manager can ask such questions like what is the economic impact going to do for the available jobs in the area. We calculate the value of jobs being added as a result of the project. We also need to calculate the number of jobs that may be lost due to the project. Some projects may have both positive and negative job impacts. Let's move to the second one, which is household earnings. It is the total amount of income paid to all workers and owners, including wages and salaries, employer-provided benefits, and also business owner profits. If you are earning less than the average household, a growth in job number does not always indicate that you have contributed favorably to the economy as a whole. On the other hand, if your project increases the area's average earnings, you will have a positive influence on the household earnings. Some believe that this is a more accurate indicator of economic impact than the number of employment. The third one is economic output. It is the total amount of all sales made or the value of goods services created in the activity under analysis. Economic output includes the money spent to acquire all of a product's input and the money received when the product is sold. For instance, consider a furniture industry company that buys raw lumber for 500 ringgit and then cuts, sands and dyes the wood to make a 1,000 ringgit dining table. In this case, the economic output would be 1,500 ringgit. Last but not least, regional value added. The economic impact of a regional value added measurement is an estimate of the impact on the gross regional product for the geographical area. We could also express the regional value added as the overall benefit to the population. For example, if you are building a new school in Sarawak that had none there, it will be a value added in the terms of expedient education. The things that are included in the regional value added category will depend heavily on the type of project or event that is being accessed using standard economy analysis methods. Next, let's see how to measure social impact. There are many tools for companies looking at how to measure social impact. If the organization is wondering what social impact indicators are appropriate for their organization, there are a few factors that need to be considered. First, make a list of the most significant facts about their company that they want investors and customers to know. Secondly, in order to select the appropriate social impact indicators, they must first decide how they want to present their data. This is determined by their target audience as well as the complexity of their measurements. Last one, once they have accurately identified these elements, they may select the social impact investing methods that are appropriate for their organization. There are 3 methods, which are accountancy and auditing, the evaluation program for the logic approach, social return on investment. The first one, let's move to the first one, which is accountancy and auditing. Accounting and auditing are two of the oldest methods for documenting an organization's social impact. The procedure, which was introduced in 1970s, consists of comprehensive analysis of the impacts of the company's actions in three main steps. Planning, accounting, reporting, and auditing are among these phases. The second one, the evaluation program for the logic approach. If you are wondering how to evaluate the social impact of a project rather than a company, the logic method based on output assessment is your best bet. This method evaluates the output rather than the outcomes that businesses consider when designing projects. As a result, it enables business to incorporate performance evaluation into the basic framework of project design in order to measure its social impact in advance. The third one, the last one, is social return on investment. This is a way to monetize the value of social impacts in terms of financial. Social value will be compared with the costs that make the project happen. For example, the investor looks for evidence of social impact that results from the investment in the project. The formula to calculate this is by dividing the net present value of benefits with net present value of investment. Through this ratio, an organization can give a clear indicator of their value created for its stakeholders.
So let's proceed with the positive economic impact of organizational activities. The first one is it can increase in sales. Nowadays, people have more awareness to the environmental issues, and they always keep themselves informed about which business they are responsible to the community. This will cause the demand of goods and services that are environmental friendly increase. Hence, if the company produces more products, it will attract more consumers to buy the product as well as it will increase its sales. The second one is it can improve the cost efficiency of the company. When the company implement the environmental production practice, such as restoring the operation to be less polluting and adopting energy-saving appliances or manufacturing process, this could result in cost advantages. This method will lead to lower production costs and boosting the efficiency of manipulating processes by reducing input and waste during the manufacturing process. It also will allow company to achieve more accurate product costs and product processes. The third one is it could avoid the company from incurring any legal costs. This is because the company meets the regulation and local requirement regarding the environmental issue by meeting all the requirements. It can avoid the company from paying a high penalty fees and legal costs that could lead to bad financial performance. So next, we will move on the negative impact of economics of organizational activities. The first one is the company need to incur additional costs. They need to spend more money to manufacture products that concern on environment. It needs a substantial investment to develop that strategy as the technology used for the strategy are quite priced. Hence, they need to incur training costs to allow the employees in the company to understand about the environment costs. So in this slide, I will explain about the positive social impact of organizational activities. The first one is it may have a positive influence on society and help to build a healthy community, but it also can be a component of a successful corporate plan. It establishes a critical ethical stand in which members are held accountable for carrying out their public responsibility. The second one is there is no arguing that exhibiting positive social effect may boost a company's client and job seeker attractiveness. Social impact corporations have a far-reaching good consequence. Companies that have a social impact are frequently devoted to ensuring that supply chains as long-lasting as the third one is sustainable and frequently associated with environmental. It is equally necessary to consider social and economic sustainability. The third one is sustainability is frequently associated with environmental. It is equally necessary to consider a social and economic sustainability. This dedication to sustainability implies that social impact organizations make every effort to collaborate with suppliers and vendors are environmentally. Hence, it will give a worker as a valuable wage and oppose disruptive social policies. So next, I will move to the negative social impact of organizational activities. The first negative is time consuming for recruiting and training. The organization has to offer a training to its recruit if it wants to implement an effectiveness system, and this requires additional use of time. The second negative impact is it will incur more time to manage waste in order to conserve the environment. An efficient municipal solid waste management system may create serious negative environmental impact like infectious disease, land and water pollution, obstruction of drains, and loss of biodiversity. Company needs to manage the waste properly to prevent all this from happens, and it will require additional time to manage waste properly.
Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. So you've been briefed on the concept, importance and benefits and limitation of measuring economic and social impact of organizational activities. To further understand this topic, I'm going to relate this topic with the economic and social impact of the telecommunication and broadband industry. In the economic perspective, telecommunication networks have a direct influence on economic growth. The telecommunication industry has contributed many benefits in a few areas. For example, telecommuting has contributed to the improvement in quality of life resulting from the ability to work remotely. If we look at the employment area, there is a creation of employment in manufacturing and installation of telecommunications equipment. Then, economic growth is contributed by the consumer surplus generated by the availability of new telecommunication services, reductions of travel time, transportation, and etc. To make things crystal clear, let me brief you on this statistic based on the impact of telecommunications on the economy of a few countries. In Blackstone and Webb, wireless communications improve productivity of supply chain and distributions processes by 20% improvement. Another example is that an investment is in broadband of 63 billion US dollar in the US will achieve universal coverage, allowing the maximization of consumer surplus generated by the new services, savings in transportation time, and new computer applications. This would result in cumulative increase to GDP of 179 billion US dollar. Next, let's move on to the impact of broadband investment on employment creation. An investment leading to universal broadband coverage in United States result in annual increase of 61,000 jobs. And the investment in broadband in one of two adjacent cities attract investment of 164 companies, generating 4,250 additional jobs. Broadband investment at the end of the last century in the United States resulted in an increase in employment around 1.5% at the aggregate level. Next, let's move on to the social impact. The social impact of telecommunications output is determined by information and communication technologies, which is being widely adopted in the industrialized world. The process of diffusion of innovation and adoption of technologies by firms has increased in information-intensive occupations, which produce terms such as the information society. The information society is information workers engaged in creating and processing information. For example, in the 1970s, the number of information workers in Europe reached 50%, while in Latin America it was 24%, and for selected Asian countries, 31%. This increase in information workers continues to be directly related to the level of economic development. In other words, economic growth leads to increase in production complexity, which result in more information workers. Let me give another example on broadband policy in Singapore. Singapore adopted a new national broadband network with the objective of reaching every household and business in Singapore, support future e-government services, and maximize possibilities for service innovation. And for broadband policy in United Kingdom, it aims to provide super fast broadband by the year 2015 in order to help kickstart economic growth and create jobs in the process. Another priority of United Kingdom government is to ensure that broadband is also available in rural communities. Based on this topic, we can conclude that companies' organized activities will result both positive and negative impact. The impacts will affect the organization stakeholders both internally and externally.